I read that you had been a student with for Nadia Boulanger.
With Boulanger.
Mm-hmm. How was that? I mean,
that was wonderful.
I've heard such interesting.
I was very green, very inexperienced when I went there. And later on, you know, she would sometimes invite me to her house for dinner to meet people, and I even met Stravinsky through her at a big reception. So that she was very generous.
Yeah.
So no, it was wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Do you have something that you generally use as a source of inspiration, or this is vary greatly? Do you have?
It varies greatly, but there's, for me, one very important rule, which I also try to impart to my students. At the very beginning of a piece, before you have kind of settled on what it is, you have on your shoulder a critic, much, much worse than a New York Times or London Times or whatever you have in Sweden, much fiercer. Mm-hmm. Well, that critic you take by the hand, and it's always he, it's a male critic. You take him to the door and you say, bye-bye, I don't want you around right now. And then what you do, it's like a kind of brainstorming session. You bring out of your imagination, what if I would do this? How about that? And however stupid the idea sounds, you don't say that's a stupid idea because the critic's outside the door. And you put it all on the table. And I find that sometimes the sort of stupid idea, the craziest idea, is that little nugget which becomes the driving force of the piece. But you don't know in advance what it's going to be, so you just put out ideas. Then you invite the critic back in, help me evaluate what we've got, and then it goes from there.
They're playing 50% music of women and 50% music of men throughout the entire season.
That sounds like a good proportion.
Yeah. I was just wondering what you think of that, and if you think that's something that's necessary still.
Well, I think that's very exciting. I think the most exciting thing is that it's new, whether it's male or female. It's very important now. In fact, I think it's always been important, but even more important now to play new music, because in the old days, way back, I mean several centuries ago, people only played new music, basically. I mean, they played what was contemporary, and that's not true now. Mostly what you hear on concerts is the 19th century and occasionally the 18th century, sometimes early the 20th century. And so it's very difficult for composers to find a way into the public ears. It's different for painting, and it's different for writing. That doesn't seem to be a problem, but for music it's a problem. So I congratulate the people who've organized this to be doing this, and also to recognize that women are half the population.
No, I agree.